Since December 1989, Maggie, Marge, Lisa, Homer, and Bart Simpson have been making families all over the world laugh. The Simpsons always has its finger on the pulse of the time and regularly questions and parodies social events and changes. However, creator Matt Groening himself probably never thought that he would predict so many occurrences as a result. Sometimes it took only a few months until the prediction turned into reality, but in other cases, the prophecies came into effect many years later. In this video, we have once again summarized some of the funniest and scariest predictions. In the 1995 episode Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, Bart takes his dog Santa's little helper to school. The latter is suddenly attracted by the delicious smell coming from the school kitchen. Here you can see the cafeteria chef Doris Freeman preparing the meal for the students. On the barrel containing the meat are the words assorted horse parts. What was thought to be an obnoxious joke at the time became reality 19 years later with the appearance of the horse meat scandal. In 2013, food products declared as beef products were found to contain up to 100% horse meat in various European countries. In the course of the investigations, unidentified portions of other types of meat such as pork and drugs such as phenylbutazone were also detected to some extent. Particularly affected were frozen foods and sauces with minced meat such as lasagna, bolognese, and other related products. But this was not the last scandal surrounding food products which The Simpsons predicted. In a 1995 episode, the teachers went to the barricades because Principal Skinner was cutting corners. This also with the preparation of the meals, into which he had old sport mats processed. And as in the previous example, the real scandal followed 19 years later when the fast food franchise Subway admitted to mixing its bread with azotic carboxamide. Indeed, this chemical substance is also found in yoga mats. Subway said there was no cause for concern, but stopped using the chemical from then on. Well then, bon appetit. The following prediction probably belongs more to the genre tragedy. In the 1993 episode Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling, two magicians perform in Springfield. They visually resemble the magician duo Siegfried and Roy. In the episode, the magicians are attacked by their white tiger during a show. Exactly the same thing happened 10 years later to the exceptional magician Roy during a performance with his tiger Manticore. According to the magicians, Roy suffered a stroke on stage which prompted the feline predator to simply come to his rescue. Whether that was really the reason, no one knows to this day. Nevertheless, Roy suffered from lasting damage and hemiplegia until his death in early May 2020. Even in the days of the Cold War, our Springfield Oracle succeeded in making a prediction that would turn out to be true 27 years later in Russia. In the episode Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, a replica of the statue of Michelangelo's David is brought to Springfield. The nudity, however, outrages some citizens and their demands to cover it up. Precisely the same happened in 2016 when a replica was also placed in the beautiful city of St. Petersburg, causing the local residents to become upset and go to the barricades. But as is well known, there's no accounting for taste. Matt Groening and his team didn't predict the outcome of the 2017 Super Bowl, but they did foresee dance performance in the 2012 episode called Lisa Goes Gaga. Lady Gaga comes to Springfield for a concert, and her stage performance is spectacular as always. At the end, attached to a tightrope, she flies across the stage in a metallic outfit, and there are sparks coming out of her top. Entirely exaggerated? Certainly not. After all, not only the performance, but also the bodysuit at the Super Bowl performance 5 years later was very reminiscent of the one in the episode. Okay, the sparks might be missing, but otherwise the similarity is astounding. Warning, the following prediction contains spoilers for the final season of Game of Thrones, so if you haven't seen it yet, you should fast forward now. Many of you will surely remember the 5th episode of this season. In The Bells, Queen Daenerys was so upset that she burned down half of King's Landing with her dragon named Drogon, inheriting her father's title as the Mad Queen. What very few noticed at the time is that in the 2017 Simpsons episode, The Simpsons, almost exactly the same scene took place. This is because in the episode, which is based on Game of Thrones, a town is also burned down by a dragon. Whether this was another surprising masterstroke by The Simpsons, or whether the Game of Thrones creators were even inspired by the animated series, remains a mystery. The episode also has other Easter eggs in store for fans. The three-eyed raven is alluded to, there are White Walkers, and those who watched the episode in English may have noticed that Marge's brother was dubbed by none other than Jaime Lannister actor Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and that he also has feelings for his twin sister. Simulation games have increasingly taken over computers and smartphones in the last decade. Be it sports, train, truck, or goat simulator, they come in all types today. On Facebook in 2009, the game Farmville conquered the hearts of million users. Old and young sat at the computer after work and school and built their own farm. The Simpsons, though, came up with the idea 12 years earlier. In the episode Bart from season 9, you were able to see a similar game. Admittedly, at the time it was still called Yard Work Simulator, but working on a farm also has a lot to do with gardening. So perhaps the Zynga development team borrowed a few things from it. As we found out in our latest Simpsons video, our yellow friends are very good at predicting things around science. On that occasion, it was the discovery of the Higgs boson. But they also seem to have a good nose when it comes to Nobel Prize winners. In elementary school music from 2010, Lisa, Martin, and Milhouse bet on who will win the Nobel Prize. Milhouse bets on Bengt Holmstrom in the category of economic sciences. Anyone who watched the series at the time probably wouldn't have expected that to become reality 6 years later. Holmstrom wins the 2016 prize for his new theoretical models in social contract theory. So now we can also include Milhouse among the Nostradamuses. The winter sport of curling tends to be made fun of and dismissed as Canadian in many American series. Since their admission to the Winter Olympics, the US has only made it on the podium twice, as curling is otherwise very much dominated by the Swedish, Swiss, and Canadians. One reason why the Simpsons creators thought to change that for once in the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl. Homer and Marge went to the Winter Olympics and won brilliantly in the final against Sweden, thus securing the gold medal for the United States. All the more spectacular that this event was to come true 8 years later at the Pyongyang Games. Not only was the color of the medal accurately predicted, but also the opponent, and the result coincided with the one from the episode. Another prediction that hardly anyone noticed: in 2018, in addition to the men's and women's tournament, a mixed doubles tournament was also on the program for the first time. So a team consisting of men and women, just like in the 2010 episode. Many people dream of their stars, be it actors or musicians, responding to their fan mail at some point in their lives. Mother Marge also cherishes this dream because she's a passionate Beatles fan. In high school, she sent her childhood crush Ringo Starr a self-painted picture of him in the mail. 20 years later, he opened the letter and answered her immediately. You don't think it's possible to get an answer to a Beatles fan mail 2 decades later? Think again. In 2013, band colleague Paul McCartney wrote 2 Beatles fans from Essex a belated reply. Believe it or not, they had sent him fan mail 50 years ago. Here too, the Simpsons made a good prediction yet again. However, not all predictions that can be found on the internet are correct. Some have been edited to fit the context. Take for example the photo of Donald Trump with Saudi Arabian King Salman bin Abdulaziz and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah. According to YouTube videos and other sources, this was supposedly taken as early as 2002, 15 years before the actual photo. However, it was simply cropped. In reality, the image was inserted into the trailer for the 20th season of The Simpsons on May 26, 2017. It can be seen between seconds 5 and 6. Also surrounding the current global pandemic, there are already some theories circulating. According to some videos and websites, our yellow family is said to have predicted this catastrophe. However, the videos are a compilation of the episodes Marge and Chains from the 4th season and the Full Monty from the 22nd, which could then be interpreted as a conspiracy. As for 2021, The Simpsons has already made some predictions. In the Halloween episode of October 31st, 2020, Homer forgot to vote during the presidential election and once again causes an apocalypse. Instead of voting, he falls asleep in his hammock and merely dreams of going to a polling station. At the end of the day, he still thinks it can't possibly be that bad. But when he wakes up, the episode jumps to January 20th, 2021. The day of the inauguration of the new American president. Homer sits armed on the roof of his house as the world ends, and even the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse fly in the sky, holding up flags that read Treehouse of Horror 31, Pestilence, Famine, and War. Fortunately, we all know that our yellow friends were wrong on this one, and that the world didn't end on the day of Joe Biden's inauguration. Let's hope it remains that way. And once again, we're through with another episode. Hopefully there are some crazy predictions in this video as well that get you excited. If you liked the video, let us know with a thumbs up. If you get any ideas for a topic of your own, feel free to post it in the comments below and we might make an episode out of it.